Was their contract the reason they could never admit the truth? Fans believe Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza were forced to hide their real feelings. For years, the love story between Alden Richards and Maine Mendoza has remained one of the most unforgettable phenomena in Philippine entertainment. What started as an accidental on-screen pairing turned into a cultural movement that captured millions of hearts across the world. Their chemistry was undeniable. Their smiles looked real. Their connection felt natural. And because of that, fans never stopped asking one painful question: were they secretly in love all along? Now, a new wave of discussions online is once again making fans emotional after rumors surfaced claiming that contracts, network obligations, and career restrictions may have been the real reason why Alden and Maine could never fully admit what they truly felt for each other. For longtime supporters of the iconic AlDub tandem, the thought is heartbreaking because if it's true, then maybe the two people who made everyone believe in love were also the same two people who were never truly free to express their own. Back in the peak of AlDub mania, the entire country witnessed something magical. Every stolen glance between Alden and Maine became headline news. Every sweet interaction caused social media to explode. Their chemistry wasn't something people could easily fake. Even viewers who were not fans admitted there was something special between them. Many noticed how protective Alden was toward Maine during interviews and public appearances. Meanwhile, Maine often looked happiest whenever she was beside him. There was warmth, comfort, a kind of silent understanding that made people believe their connection went beyond scripts and television cameras. But despite the overwhelming support from fans, both stars remained careful whenever questions about romance were asked. They smiled, they teased, they blushed, but they never fully confirmed anything. Over time, people began wondering why. Some insiders and entertainment followers now speculate that strict contracts and image management rules may have played a huge role in keeping things complicated behind the scenes. In the entertainment industry, especially for massive love teams, public image is carefully controlled. Every appearance, statement, and interaction can affect ratings, endorsements, and business deals. According to fans online, it's possible that both Alden and Maine had limitations they needed to respect while protecting their careers and the massive franchise built around their tandem. And suddenly, many moments from the past began making sense to people. Why they looked emotional during certain interviews, why there were times they seemed close, then suddenly distant, why both of them avoided directly answering questions that could reveal too much. Supporters even revisited old videos where Alden appeared unusually serious whenever conversations about real feelings surfaced. Fans noticed the way his eyes softened whenever Maine was mentioned. Meanwhile, Maine herself once admitted in interviews that there were things she preferred to keep private to protect what mattered to her. Those words now hit differently, because maybe silence was never the absence of feelings. Maybe silence was protection. Despite the years that have passed, the emotional connection fans feel toward Alden and Maine remains incredibly strong. Even today, clips of their sweetest moments continue circulating online, earning millions of views and emotional comments from people who still believe their story was genuine. Some fans say what made AlDub unforgettable was not just the killing, it was the sincerity. Unlike fictional love stories, theirs felt real because it carried imperfections, hesitation, and emotions people could relate to. They looked like two people trying to balance fame, pressure, expectations, and personal feelings all at once. And perhaps that's why people still cannot let go. Because deep inside, many believe there was always something left unsaid. Alden eventually focused on expanding his career, proving himself as one of the most respected actors of his generation. Maine, on the other hand, also built a successful path for herself, becoming admired not only for her beauty and humor, but also for her honesty and maturity. Both moved forward professionally, both grew individually. But no matter how many projects came and went, fans never forgot the connection they once shared. Even now, whenever their names appear together online, emotions instantly return. Some fans still dream that one day both stars will finally open up completely about what truly happened behind the cameras during the height of their fame. Others simply hope they both found happiness, regardless of whether love ever became real between them. But perhaps The most emotional part of all this is the possibility that timing, pressure, and contracts may have stood between two people who genuinely cared for each other. And if that's true, then their story becomes even more bittersweet. Because sometimes the hardest love stories are not the ones filled with betrayal or heartbreak. Sometimes the saddest stories are the ones where two people simply could not be free. To this day, supporters continue to hold on to the memories, the laughter, the accidental touches, the shy smiles, and the moments that made an entire generation believe in destiny. Whether Alden and Maine were truly in love or not may remain a mystery forever. But one thing is certain, what they shared touched millions of hearts. And maybe that is why people still talk about them today. Not because of rumors, not because of contracts, but because for one unforgettable moment in time, they made love feel real. As the rumors continued spreading online, many longtime supporters began revisiting old interviews and television appearances, searching for clues they may have missed before. Suddenly, simple moments that once looked ordinary started feeling painfully meaningful. Fans remembered how Alden Richards would often become unusually quiet whenever conversations about real love were brought up during interviews involving Maine Mendoza. Instead of giving playful answers, there were times he looked emotional, almost as if he wanted to say something but chose to hold it back. People noticed it more clearly now. The pauses, the careful smiles, the way he looked at Maine whenever she wasn't paying attention. For fans, those tiny details spoke louder than words. Meanwhile, Maine also had moments that supporters could never forget. There were interviews where she admitted how difficult it was living under constant public pressure. Being part of the biggest love team in the country came with overwhelming expectations. Every action was watched, every social media post became headline news, every interaction with Alden was analyzed by millions. And despite all of that pressure, many fans noticed one thing remained consistent. Whenever Maine was with Alden, she looked comfortable, safe, happy. It wasn't the kind of happiness people usually fake for television cameras. That's why many supporters became emotional again after hearing theories that contracts and career obligations may have complicated whatever relationship they truly had behind closed doors. Some fans believe the two may have wanted to protect not only themselves, but also each other. Because in the entertainment industry, one wrong move can affect entire careers. Love teams are powerful businesses. Networks invest millions into maintaining their image, popularity, and marketability. Every public appearance is carefully planned. Every rumor can either strengthen or damage a brand. And when two stars become as massive as Alden and Maine once were, the pressure becomes almost impossible to escape. According to entertainment observers, there may have been expectations they needed to follow, rules about public relationships, privacy, and how much of themselves they could truly reveal to the world. If that was really the case, fans say it explains why their story always felt unfinished, because there was always tension between what people saw and what both stars refused to confirm. Even years later, supporters still remember some of the most emotional moments from their journey together. There were the emotional speeches during live events, the nervous laughter during romantic scenes, the moments where Alden appeared deeply protective whenever Maine seemed overwhelmed. And perhaps most unforgettable of all was the way they looked at each other during quiet moments, moments that didn't feel scripted at all. Those memories became treasures for fans, not because they proved anything officially, but because they felt genuine. As social media discussions continued growing, many fans shared heartbreaking opinions online. What if they really loved each other, but the timing wasn't right? What if fame got in the way? What if they sacrificed their own happiness to protect everything around them? Those questions continue haunting supporters to this day. Still, despite all the rumors and emotional speculation, both Alden and Maine chose to remain respectful and private about their personal lives. Neither of them openly fueled the rumors, and perhaps that silence is exactly what keeps the mystery alive. Because sometimes the loudest emotions are the ones people never say out loud. Over the years, both stars matured in front of the public eye. Alden Richards evolved into a more serious actor, earning admiration for his dedication and professionalism. Maine Mendoza became known not only for her charm, but also for her honesty, intelligence, and strong personality. Fans were proud watching them grow individually. But deep inside, many never stopped wondering about the story that could have been. Because for millions of people, AlDub was never just entertainment. It became hope. Hope that genuine connection could still exist in a world full of scripted moments. Hope that two people from completely different worlds could somehow meet halfway. Hope that love could quietly grow even under the brightest spotlight. And maybe that is why their story still refuses to fade. Even now, years after the peak of their phenomenon, one simple photo, one interaction, or one mention of their names together is enough to send the internet into an emotional frenzy again. That kind of impact does not disappear easily. Not when people felt every smile, not when people cried during every separation, not when an entire generation built memories around their story. Whether the rumors about contracts are true or not, one thing remains undeniable. The connection between Alden and Maine left a mark that time could not erase. And perhaps somewhere behind all the cameras, all the scripts, and all the expectations, there really was a love story that never got the chance to fully begin.